In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, Pazuzu is described as being tall and muscular with a humanoid body and demonic features, including avian feet, 4 smoky wings gleaming with oil or blood, and a bird's beak sprouting out from the middle of his otherwise handsome face. He's a demon lord and one of the eldest and most powerful of his ilk. Also known as the Dark Angel of the Four Winds and the Prince of Lower Air Kingdoms, Pazuzu is the demon lord of all flying creatures, able to override the control even of other lesser demon lords in controlling such creatures. He was known to unleash plagues of insects and acidic clouds of poison on his enemies, as well as tear them apart with his weapons or his talons. He resides in the first layer of the known abyss, called Pazunia, the plane of infinite portals, aka the Palace of 1001 Closets. This is a plane of harsh, deadly terrain hiding a near endless amount of portals leading to all different pits and levels of the abyss, a place where Pazuzu hunts trespassers with his honor guard called the 6 Wings of Pazuzu, 6 Vrox led by a Balor. Note that this stat block is from Minsk and Boo's Journal of Villainy, and while it was edited and distributed by Wizards of the Coast, it's considered semi-canon, and remains a sore spot for some in the community over its continuity errors and retcons of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. Pazuzu has an AC of 21 and 432 HP with a 90-foot fly speed. He has incredible stats, insanely high dex, con, and charisma saving throws, and training in perception and persuasion. He has resistance to acid, cold, and fire, and has immunity to lightning, poison, and non-magical weapon damage. He's also completely immune to being charmed, exhausted, frightened, or poisoned. He's an innate spellcaster who casts several damage and non-damaging spells at will. He can also cast Dominate Person, Hypnotic Pattern, and Plane Shift 3 times per day each, and he can cast Wish once per day. He has a trait that allows him to force evil-aligned flying creatures to make wisdom saves whenever they attack him, missing him automatically if they fail. He has magic resistance, magical weapons, and the ability to dispel magic at a much higher level than normal. In combat, he makes 2 attacks, choosing from either a great sword that deals 8 to 18 slashing damage, or talons that deal 7 to 14 damage. As a bonus action, he can also cast haste through his sword, increasing his number of attacks. Alternatively, he can use his breath weapon attack, in which he sends a 100-foot cone of acid at his targets, proccing a dex save. If failed, targets take 18 to 108 acid damage, and anyone killed by this ability is immediately disintegrated. Finally, Pazuzu has legendary actions where he can try to disarm a target of their weapon, make a sword or talon attack, and then leap away without having any opportunity attacks against him, or can cast Dispel Magic for free. As a DM, I would use Pazuzu as an endgame boss for a level 18 or 20 party. I would have him fighting with his 6 Wings of Pazuzu, which means that players will be facing 6 Vrox and a Balor as well as Pazuzu. I would have the Vrox and Balor attacking as normal, see previous videos for their strategies, and use Pazuzu as a sort of crowd controller for most of the fight. On his turns, I would have him use Acid Breath every time it's up, spraying players and allies alike indiscriminately. On turns when he doesn't have this active, I would have him cast Dominate Person or Hypnotic Pattern to CC the players, and make them easier targets for his minions. Once all of the minions are dead and Pazuzu is alone, I would have him use a bonus action to cast Haste, then do 3 greatsword attacks against 1 target every single turn. Unless, of course, Acid Breath is up. To ensure players have a hard time attacking him over his minions, I might have him use Teleport to jump around the battlefield on his turn. This way, it encourages players to kill his lackeys first. On other creatures' turns, I would have him either do a Lethal Leap legendary action to strike players and move away, or cast Dispel Magic on players who have recently been buffed. Once all of his minions are dead and he has almost been beaten, I would have Pazuzu cast the Wish spell to bring himself back up to full health and, if I want to be really mean, bring back his 6 wings from death, thus starting the fight over but with the party at a severe disadvantage. If by some miracle the players manage to kill his minions again and bring him to low health, I would have him cast Plane Shift to attempt an escape. In ancient Mesopotamian myth, Pazuzu was the name given to the personification of the southwestern wind, and was the leader of the Lilu wind demons of that region. The Demon Lord Pazuzu was seen as both a source of destruction and a repellent force, as while he and his demons were known to be destructive, locals would use idols of him to scare away other demons or to keep his own chaotic Lilu demons from entering a villager home and causing their own mayhem. In this way, Pazuzu was often depicted in idols and imagery in the home as sort of a protective ward against larger evils of ancient myth, and such imagery was seen as a way to flatter the Demon Lord into leaving families alone. However, out in the more mountainous regions, as well as in tales about Pazuzu in the mountains, he was a much wilder figure who represented both chaos and freedom. While the winds of the mountains are dangerous, their master calls those with adventurous hearts to them as he once did, according to ancient texts. Quote,
I am Pazuzu, son of Hanbu, king of the evil Lilu demons. I was enraged against the strong mountains, and I have ascended them.
In comparing the monster to the myth, we find that the iconography and abilities of D&D Pazuzu are strikingly similar to those of the Mesopotamian myth. Both are humanoid men with 4 wings, bird legs, and beaks for faces, and both are master demons who command those who seek to take flight. Where D&D differs seems to be in the poison, acid, and plague aspects of their Pazuzu, as these traits are missing from the myth. It's my belief that this was to put their version squarely into the camp of chaotic, plague-ridden demonic monsters, so that all players would be left shouting, Pazuzu! If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like and comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. You can also join the Patreon for $1 a month to access videos days before they're posted here, as well as other exclusive stuff like short stories, videos, and more.